Okay, hopefully I'm on and y'all can hear me. I want to welcome you to the National Electric Football Game Museum. It's something that I started last year. Um, Look, okay, there's one person. uh, Wait a little bit, see how many more show up here. But anyway, like I say, it's the museum is something that I decided to start last summer. I've been collecting electric football games for over 20 years. Started about 1997. And I've built up enough of a collection that and having a background of working in museums, I thought, well, we need and visiting museums all the time. I've never seen a museum to electric football, or even very rarely even see the games in a museum. I know that the Pro Football Hall of Fame had one in 2000, or at least a temporary exhibit in connection with Miggle and one of the Miggle tournaments. Like I say, that's after I retired last year, that's what I decided to do. It is organized as a 501c3 nonprofit, which means, and as a classified as an educational museum. Like I say, our main goal is to preserve the history of the electric football games and to bring it, preserve it for the next generation of coaches that's going to be coming up. To give you a little bit of background about myself, I grew up in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, small town in Tennessee. See, AK Fox is watching. AK and I actually grew up together. We went to the same school. We kind of lived in different neighborhoods, but we did play I know we played a lot of backyard football together, a lot of baseball together. And then we both played on the high school freshman football team. AK is one of my childhood friends that really, of course, after we got out of high school, we kind of lost track of each other. But then here lately, I remember exactly what year it was. He actually came to one of the Miggle conventions that was at the College Football Hall of Fame, and we ran into each other, and of course got connected again. And like I say, now we finally got the Music City Electric Football League going. AK is a very big part of that. Couldn't have done it without him. I think it took his effort more than it did mine to actually get it going. Him and Brian Fox to get the Music City Electric Football League going. And like I said, we just completed our inaugural season and our first tournament. Vince Stone was the season champion, and Eddie Cousins won the tournament that we just had this last Saturday. Again, that's something that definitely had been a lifelong dream for me, to get that, to actually have a Music City Electric Football League. It's kind of I've been in the hobby for, I've been back into it since 1997. Growing up, my original first electric football game I ever got was the AFL Tudor Games AFL version with the Jets and Chiefs. I was either 10, 11, 12 years old when I got it. Of course, I've been begging my parents for one for a couple of years actually. After I'd been to a friend's house and saw the NFL Tudor Games game that had the Packers and Colts in it. That's when I first saw it, played some with him. Of course, like I say, loved it. After I got mine, ordered 4 more teams and played a solitaire league. As a kid, probably for 3 or 4 years before I actually, did put it away. Life kind of got in the way. Started, getting older, and of course discovered girls. So that's when it kind of went under the bed and up in the closet. And actually, never saw it again. I do know what happened to it. I gave it to my first wife's little brother, and for the last time I saw it, he had totally destroyed it, which broke my heart when I saw it. But yeah, and then later I did try to find it, but it was long gone. So I did finally, several years ago, find one on eBay. I mean, I kept bidding on it till I finally got it. And I probably paid too much for it, but I don't know. I wound up paying, almost $120 just for that set. But that one was very special to me, and I definitely wanted to have that one in my collection. Today, I've spent all day just getting ready for this video, setting up my room, a lot of things that I had been kind of putting off as far as trying to get a temporary museum set up. Like I say, right now, it's been over a year since we got it organized. AK Fox is on my board of directors. I've got a board of directors set up. AK is on it. Brian Fox is on it. Roger and Dustin Fisher are on my board of directors. Of course, Lynn, Weird Wolf Schmidt, Chris Bops are all people that I had known for several years. Brian I've known for 20 years. Brian was one of the first people that I got to know playing electric football. Me and him met, it was 1999, because the first convention I went to was in Philadelphia, the Miggle convention that they held in Philadelphia. Met David Nichols and Steve Graham there. Of course, Myron Evans, Reginald Rutledge. These are the people that I've known since then. Started going down to play in the Birmingham electric football league with David Nichols. Of course, going to the Bama Blast. And like I say, that's, of course, got hooked like everybody else. Got hooked on playing and actually playing in the tournaments and leagues. So again, of course, went to a whole lot of the Miggle conventions. When the Miniature Football Coaches Association first started, I got involved in that. Was actually on the board of directors of the Miniature Football Coaches Association for 5 years. Was kind of on the beginnings of when the Tournament of Champions started, the TOC. I know I was in on that as we were starting to get that organized. Of course, definitely glad to see that the TOC is going strong. I actually this last November, AK and I went over to Raleigh and played in the Bull City Blast. And that's actually the first TLC tournament I've actually played in. And I really didn't go. I didn't go to even play. Actually, I really didn't intend to play. I just wanted to watch and talk to some of my friends, to meet some people. Well, they needed somebody else to fill out the bracket. It's like, okay, I'll play. Of course, played with the Bari team. I had to take AK Fox for letting me loan him to his Tennessee Volunteers team, and of course borrowed the quarterbacks from somebody, and of course wound up in the pool playing Rafiq McDaniel, Damon Lucas, and Fred McClown. So needless to say, I didn't make it past the first round, which is good. I mean, fine, but I had a blast playing, and that's really, to me, that was, I just enjoyed playing. Yeah, Brian, you were the one that asked me to play. But yeah, I mean, I kind of, it made me realize how much I do miss playing competitively. Hey, Damon. I enjoyed that game with you. But yeah, I mean, that's just, like I say, I've been, electric football is my passion. I mean, it's my hobby. I love it. Like I say, I wouldn't be when it's something that pretty much consumes your life for 20 years. I mean, it doesn't consume my life, but it's definitely, I mean, I spend all my spare time, whatever spare time I do have, I'm definitely, I'm either on the internet, researching electric football, of course, on all the Facebook group pages. Of course, the Meagle forums for years. Tour Games has started their forum again. Again, not only playing competitively, but I play a lot of solitaire. Since I've retired, I've actually started playing solitaire again too. And of course, I post a lot of my solitaire stuff on the Tutor Games forum. So, like I say, it's something that definitely I have a passion for. Getting a lot more people on here now. If you want, I think I'm gonna kind of hopefully give you a quick kind of virtual tour of what I got set up with the museum now. If I can get this thing turned around. Yeah, there it is. This is it's set up in my bonus room, in my house. As you come up the stairs, there's a little plaque with, of course, the purpose and mission of the museum, how I plan on having it set up. I plan on doing a game board gallery, an artist gallery, a community gallery and game room, a media library, and a retail outlet, and of course a storage facility. I actually have a, of course, self-storage unit where I've got a lot of my collection in. I guess I've actually got probably, I've never really actually counted how many game boards I do actually have. I mean, I know the last count is over 50. That's actually the first thing I actually set up. It's got some of the old games. Got one of the old vintage, original 1949 games. Baseball game, 59 electric football, and then a 59 sports car race. I've actually played that sports car race. Last time my grandkids were here, we actually got it down and ran it. Got 2 cars that we were on it, and man, it's fun. I actually enjoyed playing that. It was great. The baseball game, never really played it. Number one, I don't have all the parts to it. So never played electric football or electric baseball. But anyway, that's that. And then I've got this. This is a 1966 Tudor electric football. This is the set that actually came out with the gorilla figures, if you know what they are. This particular set did not have gorilla figures. The game board itself actually came out in 61. This just happens to be a 66. And then, of course, I got my big boards I'm working on. And of course, like I say, I've got one of the 67 Colts and Packers. Of course, the 67 Giants and Browns. And then, like I say, the AFL version with the Jets and Chiefs. And then up here on the wall, this one I'm really proud of. This is the Otasco Super Bowl electric football. Kind of rare. I did just buy it off of eBay here recently. Of course, this is just another 69. Several 620s, different model numbers. The 660 versions, the smaller versions, another 500. And since it's Christmas, I set this up today. I know just about everybody, if you talk to them, Christmas was probably the first time they ever actually got an electric football game. So I was the same way. Got it when I was, like I say, 10, 11, 12 years old. Just some other game boards in the collection. Of course, one of the newer Tudor 13x13 red zone game boards. Love that game board. It's really fun to play on. Played some solitaire games on it lately. This is one of the ABC Monday night football games with the Miggle Stadium surround. Actually got two sets of those. And then here, of course, a bunch of the Coleco Monroe games. Got a Monroe Canadian version game. I love Canadian football, so I like to play on it. And under here, just some more games. Of course, Tudor made more than just the electric football games. Of course, they made several NFL board games, NFL Strategy, NFL Game Plan, that. Of course, my computer and my workstation where I sit there, like I say, on the internet all day, just about. I like to do a lot of painting. I love painting teams. Just about always got a set out here I'm working on as far as painting. It's a recent Pittsburgh Steelers 67 uniform I painted. St. Louis Cardinals. I picked them two to teams to paint because the first actual pro football game that I ever went to was an exhibition game here in Nashville at Vanderbilt Stadium, Dudley Field, in 1967 with the Steelers were playing the St. Louis Cardinals. And I was 10 years old. It was the first professional football game I ever got to go to. And then, of course, this is just some of my MFCA stuff. My MFCA coffee cup. My Lee Paint Award they awarded me the Lee Paint Award one year. One of the new Titans NFL displays. Which, as you can see, I am a Titans fan. I don't know how many Titans teams, anything that Tudor sells. For as far as Titans, I'm gonna buy it. I've got them all. And then my arena football league game boards. I've got a Nashville Cats hand painted arena. That was the first one I ever did. It was actually put an old game board and hand painted an arena field on it. There's my Nashville Cats teams. Nashville Cats logo. It's a wood plaque with the Nashville Cats logo. It actually came out of the Cats training facility here in Nashville. Bought it at the flea market. $75, but it was well worth it. And then just some Cats posters, team posters, cheerleaders posters. And then this is kind of my library, my hard hats from when I worked at the Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame. Of course, I'm all kinds of books. I always reading all kinds of, love to read about football history. So I got a whole lot of books. Of course, just some of them more. They're from stuff from the Hall of Fame in my books. Of course, I've got the Unforgettable Buzz books. Unforgettable Buzz, Electric Football Wish book in full color. Very good books. If you like books, I would definitely recommend buying them. One of the copies of the Unforgettable Buzz is actually signed by Earl Shores and Rody Garcia. Like I say, that's pretty much the museum as it is now. I did actually spend all day getting that kind of set up just for this thing tonight. So that's basically, all I really have. See, I had a Monday night game. Okay, Brian, it's nice. I had a Monday night game that had lights on it. Yeah, I've got the lights on it. They do work. I don't very rarely turn them on, except when the grandkid is over and wants to see the lights on. But also, I didn't really show my, let's see. I got an Army-Navy, got one of the Army-Navy Tudor games with the recent stadium that they came out with. And then, this is my custom game board that I built. You'll hear me talk a lot about the big board that I have. This is a 30-inch by 60-inch sheet metal. The actual playing field size is, I think, 23 and 3/4, and then it's 54.5 inches long. So it's really not any wider than the 2x4 game boards that everybody uses, but it is longer. The scale is 7/16 to a yard scale. Of course, I always keep a team on there. Teams I actually got on there are 67 big men, and they are weighted to 4.0. Of course, I keep it set up just to show people how to play. I did recently have, my wife is actually, she's actually a better promoter than I am as far as when it comes to telling people, especially outside of my group of friends. She talks about it. She's always telling people about my football room, the hobby and what I do, painting the teams and playing and all that. So here recently, one of her friends, get that light out of the way. I don't know if I can. and their kids. I wish I'd taken pictures. I didn't take pictures of them when they were here, but I mean, they had a blast. This little two boys, one was 4 and one was 8. Of course, I let them. Anything I got set up here, I don't care. You know, I don't mind anybody playing with what I've got set up. I mean, it's not nothing. It's not nothing that can't be replaced. So, you know, I like I say, I don't mind at all. You know, kids come over and want to play on it. That's what it's here for. It's to teach younger kids about the game and to teach them how to play. Like I say, that is my goal for really the rest of my life, I guess, is just really teaching kids how to play. I mean, that's my passion. That's what I want. That's really what I want to do with the museum. We've got several. Actually, got several projects going on right now. As far as, thank you, Jim. I don't know. You're a legend too. One of these days, me and you got to play a game again, Jim. It's been a while. I know we have played, but we definitely got to play some more. And as far as it goes, I mean, right now, I mean, of course, it's in my house. We're in a residential area. I can't really advertise it and publicize it too much because I'll get in trouble with the homeowners association. But I mean, my goal is to actually build a museum. I mean, that's my whole purpose in it. I have actually been looking around for locations here lately. If you don't know where, I mean, I live in Spring Hill, Tennessee. You know, it's not a. Somebody asked me one time if it was a mecca of electric football. Well, no, it's not, but we do. They are here. I know they are here. Spring Hill is where the Saturn automobile factory built a new factory here in 1989. So I know there are a lot of the auto workers that came from Michigan in this area, and probably I'm sure they did play electric football growing up. Of course, now it is a GM factory, and I mean, I've done everything I can to promote the hobby in this area. I've had newspaper articles done. I even had a spot on public radio one time. Never really had the TV stations to come out and do anything. I did when we had our. Of course, right now it's probably not a good time to be inviting the TV stations to an electric football tournament. But I did when we had our tournament Saturday. I did invite all the media to come to it, and of course, never heard from any of them. Of course, none of them had any kind of interest. And I think, too, that has a lot to do with the fact that, yes, it is football season. Of course, the Titans are doing great. I really hope they make it to the Super Bowl this time. I'm sure y'all got y'all's opinions on that. And, but, I mean, they definitely played a very good game this past Sunday. They got a good team. I mean, of course, Derrick Henry. I mean, can anybody really stop him? So yeah. But anyway, like I say, I've got several other. I've got plans for. Like I say, I definitely am. I mean, my goal is to build a permanent museum. And I mean, it's not going to be some little old rinky-dink thing either. It's going to be a very, high quality museum. I did work in the museum and exhibit company. I worked Nashville. I worked for a museum exhibit company out of Nashville, 1220 Exhibits, for 14 years, and it's a very prestigious museum exhibit company. Like I say, we did in the 14 years that I worked with them, I had the opportunity to do some work at Texas A&M when they did their thing in front of their stadium, Baylor University, TCU, Florida. Like I say, in 2014 when the Green Bay Packers redid their Packers Hall of Fame, I did a lot of work. I actually did a lot of that work on that museum. I have the pictures that I can actually post now since it's been open for a while. I can actually give y'all, post some of the pictures. Give you a little bit of background of, the inside, what it takes to, build a museum. When the Pro Football Hall of Fame did their remodel several years ago, our company that I worked for did that remodel. I went up the year before and redid the entrance. I've actually got, I don't know if I stopped long enough to show you the graphic that I have from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But it's one that wound up not being used, so it wound up here at my house. But yeah, I've definitely got the background as far as in museums and building displays and knowing how to display stuff. That definitely will help me in building this museum. Also, some of the other museums, I did a lot of work at the National Civil Rights Museum, and we did all kinds of museums. It gave me the opportunity, doing that gave me the opportunity to travel all over the country, places I definitely never would have had the opportunity to go to. I'd worked went to New York several times and did a lot of graphic updates and stuff at Citi Field in the New York Mets Hall of Fame. And been all the way to Oregon 2 years ago. Went out to Oregon and worked on the Oregon Historical Society Museum out there. The last museum that I was actually working on before I left the company was the Eisenhower Presidential Museum out in Kansas. And of course, it's while I was out there that I really kind of came up with the idea of creating and starting the National Electric Football Game Museum. Of course, and that kind of stemmed from going over to Kansas City. The Presidential Eisenhower Museum's in Abilene, about 2 hours away from Kansas City. So I had the opportunity to go over and talk to Lynn Schmidt, Weird Wolf, and get his idea on what he thought about it. And of course, he thought it was a good idea. The idea actually came about probably 5-6 years ago. I think it was at probably the last TutorCon that they kind of sponsored, had anything to do with, where I got to meet Renee Smith. And of course, if you know Renee, he's got a huge collection of just about every electric sports game that Tudor's made. A lot of electric football games, their electric basketball, their electric baseball, electric track and field, electric horse race. You pretty much name it, Renee's probably got one of those game boards. And in talking to him, I just asking him, what are you going to do with all this stuff? What's going to happen to all this stuff when you're no longer around? Your family going to sell it? You going to, what's going to happen to it? And He's like, well, I said, I really don't know. I mean, I'd like to have somewhere to put it. And I said, well, I've really been considering starting a museum. And he's like, well, yeah, that'd be a great idea. I said, yeah, I'd love for it to go to some place like that rather than just, family trying to sell it off or it winding up. The worst thing that could happen, winding up in the thrift stores and the Goodwill stores or in the dump somewhere. So that is really kind of how the idea of starting a museum came about. And of course, at that same convention was, where Earl Shores and Rody Garcia had actually come out with the books at that time. And of course, they've got a huge collection. So that's actually how the idea of the museum actually came about. So as far as that, that's pretty much the history of that. Again, I don't know really what y'all want to talk about. If you got any questions about anything, I definitely will try to answer them. I've kind of got my computer on over here too, watching it, and on my tablet too. So, like I say, if you got any questions, please, please feel free to ask. They say, I guess since I did retire, and we've got the Music City League going now, and I have actually played in a TLC tournament now. I am getting that. Do you do any tweaking? No, Jim. I tweak my own. I don't do any other than just my own tweaking, which probably explains why I need some help, actually. But I'd just rather do it myself. I do pretty good. I don't have the strength. I can usually get speed out of at least a couple of players. If I can get a wide receiver open, I can pass pretty good with the TDQB or one of the quarterbacks. What team do you play with? I try to play with the Titans as much as I can because that's this past in the Music City. I did play with the MTSU Blue Raiders college team. I did play with them. I actually have 3 or 4 league competition teams that I can use whenever. Yeah, I definitely keep practice tweaking, Jim. Eventually I'll get it. Yes, the museum does need donations. I mean, I've got a lot of projects going on that we're going to need money for. But yeah, as far as the teams that I play with the Titans. I've got an MTSU. Vanderbilt is my favorite college team. So I'm fixing to start putting together a Vanderbilt team. I have had one before. I'm fixing to put one together again. And then I've also got a team of my high school, the Lawrence County High School Wildcats. Uniforms actually look like LSU, purple and gold. They're very much similar to the LSU Tigers uniform. But to give you an idea, I say when I first came up with the idea for the museum and put it out there, of course, the first thing mentioned was locating it in Brooklyn, New York, at the, of course, 176 Johnson Street, the old Tudor Games factory. And I have actually contacted. It's in 2005. It was converted to luxury loft apartments. But about 2.5 months ago, I actually did contact the realtor that handles the apartments there in the building. and he does have he was one of the original residences, been living there ever since they turned it into apartments, and he's president of the board of the building now. And I asked him, told him about what I was doing, and of course, this would be a great place. It's surprised that the building was even still there, and asked them if they had a lobby area where we could possibly put a electric football game display. And believe it or not, he was actually open to it. So that is one of the main projects right now that I am working on. I'm starting to design it and do the graphics for it. And as long as we can get everything worked out, and there's at least enough room to do at least a small temporary display, or even just just a small permanent display. They are that realtor. He was very open to it, embracing it. I've just gotta get it designed and get back with him and give him an idea of what we want to do with it. So yes, believe it or not, we're actually going to have, hopefully, a display in the original Tudor Games factory building. So, let's see. Thank you so much for adding the ToPro football manual in the museum. Yeah, the museum, I mean, it is, if there's anything related to electric football, it's going to be included in it. If you look at the website, if you go to the website, nefgm.org, you'll see I've got several different sections on it. Got a collections gallery, a collectors gallery where I'm going to showcase other people who collect electric football. I'm going to post pictures on them. The biggest part of course, anything that's pictured in the collections gallery right now is pretty much my own personal collection right now so far. I have had a few things. I have had a few people, donate some things. But I've got, rule books, ToPro rules, TOC rules. I don't have the shootout rules. I hadn't contacted Reggie. I was going to see if I could get a copy of the shootout rules from Reggie. Yeah, over the last 20 years, I mean, I've been collecting all that stuff. I've been, if there was rules put out on the internet, I've downloaded them. They're in my computer files. And that's, I mean, every rule book, every Tudor rule book, I've scanned them and downloaded them, created PDFs. If you have, if there's any particular Tudor rule book that you want to know about, I've probably got it on the website. I did just recently purchase off of eBay a collection of 9 Tudor Games product catalogs from Toy Fair. That's definitely very interesting. Of course, they show everything that Tudor sold is pictured in these catalogs. They're, not, Tudor did, not only electric football, they did the hockey, they did the basketball. Where to make donations, you can go to the website at nefgm.org. There's a donate button on there to make donations. If you want to donate items, if you got, anything you want to donate, just contact me and we'll make arrangements to either ship it or, if it's reasonable, I'll come pick it up. If I can do that reasonably. But yeah, as far as, if you want to donate money, I've got a donate button on the website that you can donate through there. I do administer, in connection with the museum, I do administer the National Electric Football Game group page. I do administer the electric football community group page. And then I just started one more recently called the National and International United Brotherhood of Electric Football. That actually came about from one of the guys that I have gotten to know pretty well from the Tudor Games Forum. Kit, you probably know him, the Long Island. If you've been following any of the Long Island Electric Football League, Billy O'Connell is his name. They have a very interesting. They do some really interesting write-ups, but they're not on Facebook. You have to go to the Tudor Games Forum to find out about it. But they have a very good league of 8 coaches, and they play with all the 32 NFL teams. I think, you know, 8 coaches, each coach coaches 4 of the teams, and they've been playing this league for like 25 years, and they have a lot of really good, you know, they keep all the records for their league. You know, they're going to donate a lot of their records and a lot of their stuff from their league to the museum here pretty soon. That's another thing. I mean, like I say, you know, as far as items to donate, if it's related to electric football, I'm all for it. I'll take it. Like I say, David Nichols was. I mean, he's been, like I say, we've been friends for over 20 years. David is actually probably the one that has mentored me more than anybody else as far as about playing and teaching me how to play. Very good friend. Well, he just recently sent me a 14 VHS tapes of the Deep South Miniature Football League, from the tournaments, from the Bama Blast tournaments. I mean, all the way. I mean, 1996 was the date on the oldest one, and then 99. And let's see, I'll look at getting something together. Or you're from the East Coast? Yeah, great, appreciate it. And I mean, for a solid week, probably watching over 20 hours worth of videotapes. I actually had to go out and borrow a VHS tape player because I didn't have one to watch them on. And there's some cool stuff on there. I mean, you talk about, you think the TOC gets competitive. A lot of them early Bama Blasts were very competitive. And I am getting them. I'm getting all those converted to digital media so that we can edit it and do a production from those videotapes. Of course, like I say, that's, you know, I'll still keep the originals here in what I call the media library of the museum. I mean, that's, you know, I'm all, you know, I am very much about saving and preserving anything I can to have to do with electric football. Leagues, you know, even solitaire leagues. Some of these guys that play solitaire have very extensive league records. I've actually got a friend very close to here that lives in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It's about 30 miles here from where I live, who has a very nice stadium build, hand paints all his teams. He's been doing it ever since he was a kid. I mean, he's got extensive league records. Corey Johnson, Philadelphia. I mean, one time he showed me some of the things that he had from back when he was a kid, some of the records that he had from there, handwritten on notebook paper. It's things like that. You know, if you've got them, I mean, yeah, I mean, please donate them to the museum. My original plan My original plan was really not to really just more celebrate the game with the museum. And if I was going to create a Hall of Fame with the museum, it was mostly going to be, the game boards, the innovators, the people who have done a lot of the innovations with the games. Reggie Rutledge is one. Whatever you may think of him personally, he still is definitely one of the innovators of the game. Has done a lot to bring attention to the game and improve the game. His products, a lot of people buy them. I've bought them. Of course, the Kling Bulls and the Ips bases. And if I hadn't hit you up already for Day No Nations, I'm definitely I am going to. I got no problem asking somebody. Yes, I have spoken to the Pro Football Hall of Fame about adding EF to the Hall of Fame. Hadn't spoken to them personally, but I have sent 2 letters to them here in the last 2 months. One to the exhibit director and one to the David Baker, the executive. Like I say, I do have that inside connection with the fact that I have actually worked there and done work for them, and the museum company that I worked for, does all their exhibits now. I think they still do them all as far as whenever they change anything. I also here recently became a member of the Pro Football Writers Association, and they are going to be having a convention at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in this next summer, and I'm definitely going to go to it. I'm actually going to talk to the people of them about one of the other things I've got to do is to create a traveling exhibit. That's really what I need to do right now, rather than actually having a building. I've actually got to create a traveling exhibit that I can take around to different places. And so, yes, I'm hoping that that's my connection into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, with getting an EF display in there. So, yes, it's very much in the plan of definitely getting electric football displayed in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They do have some. I know they've got some games in their archives. The one that they do actually have on display is actually one of the Catico photoelectric football games. To us, that's not electric football. That's just a board game. So, but I do think they do have a couple of electric football games in their collection, in their archives. If you haven't seen that movie, that just came out, Game On, the history of electric football and NFL properties. It's a very good movie. Definitely, and it's a download that you have to pay for to actually watch the movie, but it's well worth it. $6.99 for a 47-minute video on the history of electric football and NFL properties. It's well worth that, just to be able to watch it. You can also rent it for like $2.99 a month, or $2.99 per view, whatever. So yeah, that's, like I say, that's everything that's going on as far as the museum is concerned. Of course, my future plan is, yes, I'm going to start going out to a lot more of these TLC tournaments and start playing more. I do really enjoy that part of it. And I'll get better. It's just like anything, you just got to practice at it. Of course, Rafiq, I've known Rafiq for a lot of years. Even after that last game we played in the pool play, he was for 15 minutes telling me a lot of stuff, teaching me a lot of stuff about how to improve my game. Kind of the strategy of playing in one of the TLC tournaments. So yeah, I am going to be one of those, hopefully, up and coming coaches here before too long. Hey, I got my eye on that game goal ball too, so you know, we would love to. Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think I'm gonna play in the bowl championship series, but I definitely am gonna start playing more in the TOC tournaments. And of course, with the Music City League, we are using the TOC rules, so that's a good thing. Time's just about up. Got about 5 more minutes. Anybody else has got any questions? Hopefully I've been kind of trying to follow the questions here. But yeah, I mean, I look forward to, of course, like I say, getting out and playing again. Hopefully when all this COVID's over. I was really hoping to be able to go out to California play out there and with that one. I know Vince Petros is, I think, scheduled to be on tomorrow night, and I need to talk to Vince. Vince did say, he did call me and said he had a collection of game boards that he was willing to donate. So I'm going to hit him back up for it. I mean, he actually last summer, and I just hadn't had the time to go out there and actually get them. But Vince Petros is one of those guys that's been around the hobby. You either love him or you hate him. And yeah, we kind of have that love-hate relationship. But no, me and Vince are really good friends. So yeah, well, I'm looking forward to hearing what he's got to say tomorrow night. Clay Lomax, how you doing? Good. I do have that. I've got that Super Bowl game that I bought from you. I hadn't got to put it on display yet, but it's there. And again, too, with if I start doing a lot of these displays, I'm gonna need more game boards. I mean, I've got a lot of game boards, but if I do everything with what I plan on doing, and even the projects I've got going now, I mean, my game boards are going to be gone pretty soon. So I'm going to be looking to you guys for, donations of game boards, especially the old vintage game boards, if you got them. Kenneth Allen, hi. How you doing? Again, Kenneth Allen, you actually go back to the old MFCA board of directors. We had some really good board of directors meetings, I think, sometimes. One of those guys definitely respect very much in the hobby. Have learned a lot from. So yeah, like I say, unless anybody's got anything else, I'm about ready to cut it off. I have enjoyed it. I do thank Brian Phillips for allowing me to be on here. And I will be, letting you know. I will be putting out posts of a lot of the projects I've got going on with the museum. To the point to where I can start sharing a lot more of those. So, like I say, if there's nothing else, you guys all have a good evening, and we'll be talking at you. Thank you.